stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Buns,
Present.
Lawson,
Here.
Wyatt,
Here.
Sewell, and Reister are absent and it's approved.
All right, have a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carried. Motion to approve the consent agenda. Is anybody have any questions or want anything removed before we proceed with that? Okay. I'll go ahead and move.
I'd make a motion to approve that with the consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Welcome to everybody here tonight. We'll move on to committee reports and recommendations. First is the Administration Personnel Finance Committee. We met and opened the meeting at 4:45. We had 3 RFPs for copiers, and Chrissy created this really nice little spreadsheet for us, and it's included in the packet. So the committee decided to recommend that we go with the Access Systems, and that will be on our agenda here tonight. And meeting adjourned at 4:49. We like to get things done.
Is that the same, is it the same company we've been going through, or that's different?
That's
Did they not,
Nope,
they didn't submit? Interesting.
they did not.
Okay.
I can tell you about that later.
All right.
All right, public safety meeting. Kate?
Well, that's me. We met on October 6th at 4 p.m. It was a very long meeting. First thing that we discussed was the bid approval for the sale of truck 601 from the fire department. There was a high bid for $112,000 from Holland Fire Department. There were some other ones, but that was the high bid, and that is on the agenda to accept that tonight. So that's there. The next thing we discussed was another police vehicle. We've got 4 police vehicles. There's one with awfully high mileage right now that needs to be replaced. We know that. There's been a delay from Ford due to COVID, manufacturers, all this other good stuff. And we have talked extensively about getting vehicles in rotations. So Sergeant Wiersma had an option of purchasing a vehicle from out of town, a Chevy vehicle from Des Moines. After much discussion back and forth, it was also presented, I had a presentation, a proposal for having another Ford vehicle in a year after we get this and waiting 6 months and just splitting the mileage between the 3 vehicles. Blake Caldwell was in attendance. Was discussed about how long it takes to order a vehicle, so what was decided and kind of everything that came out of that is keeping our current order that's hopefully going to be built in December, working through to make sure that we can get through when that vehicle's here, but also placing another order for another Ford vehicle from Caldwell Ford as the local purchaser, or the local place, to be able to have that in 12 to 18 months when that's on the next one, because that would be our next rotation vehicle, should be arriving in that time. That will make sure that we keep both vehicles in separate fiscal years, and Blake said he could even work with us to make sure that this one's purchased this fiscal year, the next one's purchased the next fiscal year. And then we looked at making sure that that rotation stays every year, so every 4 years every 4 years our one vehicle will be replaced, which means we'll be purchasing a new car every year. As long as we keep that in the budget and keep going forward with that, we came to a consensus that would be okay. We also discussed about the upfitting, different things, and there was not a real change in cost between a couple of different upfitters. Chrissy, correct me if I'm wrong in all this, or
Nope,
Danny,
correct.
correct me if I'm wrong in this. But there's one upfitter that can do the whole works instead of having to stop in the middle and transfer to a different one to complete other parts of the computer upfitting and things like that. So it was discussed to go with that company once everything gets in, and talking about getting on schedules for that so that we're ahead of the game with that. So at that point, there was a lot of discussion back and forth, but it was decided to continue with what we've got on order from Bill Caldwell Ford and then place the order for the next vehicle that will be replaced next year, so it'll come in on time. That is also on this agenda for tonight.
Correct.
The next item, we had a really long meeting, we had a 2.5 hour long meeting for public safety, which doesn't normally happen. After that, Gary Jacobson left our meeting, so he wasn't around for the rest of it, he said, I'm out. Department hiring was discussed. We have budgeted right now, we are short, we are short. We're short a full-time officer and a part-time officer. We have interviewed 2 committees. We had an interview committee that interviewed 2 candidates. And we all know that every police department in the entire nation, along with every business, we think is having issues with hiring and quality hiring and everything like this. So we discussed, right now we are scheduled to have another full-time and a part-time hired. We discussed having 2 full-time, bumping both of them up to full-time to be able to have some overlap in a couple hours to do some stretching and allowing of overflow with some hours to give the guys a little bit of a breather. Because right now, there's only 20, I don't even think there's 20 hours a week, is there? That's overlapped between everyone right now. So if somebody's out ill, it goes automatically to overtime. So this would let us do a little bit of changing with the schedule so that it's not just push, push, push all the time with everyone. Also would allow us to do some field training officer time so that these new officers, when they come in, aren't handed keys and say, here you go, go police the department, or police the community, without being any training on how to do that. So that is also.
No, that is not.
That is not on the agenda tonight until we look at the offers from the candidates that we're looking at. And that will be a future set of discussion. Then we discussed, wages for the police department, which are less than most agencies in the area. We are at the bottom of the totem pole with a lot of the agencies that are in the area. And again, every agency having trouble hiring and retaining quality candidates for their police department. Money's a huge factor in that. So we do need to have more discussion on this, and it will be coming at the council level as far as increasing the base pay of all of our officers to get them up and more competitive, so we don't continue to lose officers to other departments because of money issues. It was even discussed that there is one community in Iowa that's paying like a $5,000 sign-on bonus just to come be an officer. So watching those things, watching developments and making sure that we can retain our officers is high priority, so that will be coming as well, especially first of the year and then end of fiscal year. Parking around the school was discussed. There's still been a couple of issues, so we just asked the officers to continue to watch out, especially for houses that are right on the corner by the school that people block driveways that aren't supposed to. So we've asked them not only to continue to look for that, but if they do see it, make sure they get out and take care of issues as much as they can. And then the little park, or the library at the park's been vandalized a couple times, so we also asked that they look out for that. I know our public works team is gonna fix that because it was done as a project for somebody, so just making sure that we continue to monitor everything going on in town, so just suggestions. We finally adjourned at 6:08 p.m.
Okay. Any questions or?
That was a lot.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Kate. We'll move into the public hearings. First public hearing regarding the approval of the preliminary plat revision to lot number 3 LLC site development. Do we have any written or verbal comments?
No.
Okay, we'll go ahead and close that public hearing. We'll open the public hearing regarding the approval of the subdivision plat to home survey plat. Any written or?
No.
Nope.
Okay, we'll go ahead and close that public hearing. We'll move into general government. Item A, discussion the wage increases. My personal feeling is, I think this is gonna require a work session of council.
I think,
It's gonna be better handled there.
Mhm.
There was a lot of information that was in there, and I know I have a lot of questions, just to see what I'm reading and what I should be seeing and
I agree with
all of
that.
that.
And I also think it's not just police department, and Chrissy brought up a really
I
valid
saw
point.
that comment too.
Nobody in this team, I like to call it a team, I guess, because that's what I work with, is more important or than the others. We can't make the city run without a city clerk any more than we can make it run without police, without making it. You know, we've even talked about eventually, you know, the fire department will be looking at potentially hiring on paid staff as we grow, hopefully down the year, as long, you know, or the years, if we continue to grow and things continue on the path they are. So nobody's more or less important. So I think we definitely need to set up, and I don't know that I feel comfortable continuing a huge discussion right now with only 3 of us here.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
I would make a motion, well, I don't even have to make a motion, but I would just say that this is something that we need to ask the mayor to set up some sort of either a committee or a work session for our council to be able to look at wages across the board to make sure we're still standard with that.
George, did you have some comment?
Yeah, I
Is he
think
on
that's a
meeting
good
or
idea to
something?
have a work session. I'll have Chrissy send out, Chrissy and I will discuss it tomorrow, come up with some dates and times, and then see where we can get a majority, if not all the council to be able to attend. And hopefully do it yet this month.
I would, yeah, even if we got this month, November, one, you know, obviously holidays coming up, we gotta do it sooner rather than later, but,
Right, because we want to get some officers hired.
well, not only that, yeah, we
Yeah.
just need to look at everybody.
Yeah, so,
All right,
okay,
anybody else have anything?
Yep.
Jeff?
No, I'm good.
okay. We'll move on to item B. Discussion action to approve resolution 2836, a resolution for approval of preliminary plat revision for lot number 3, LL Seaside Development.
So moved.
Second?
Any other discussion? Okay, roll call please.
Watson. Wyatt.
Aye.
Buns.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0.
Okay. Item C, discussion action to approve resolution 2837, a resolution for approval of the subdivision plat to home survey plat, and that's to add 158.82 square feet on his Dale Drive property.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Any other discussion? Roll call please.
Wyatt.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Buns.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0.
Item D, discussion action to approve resolution 2838, a resolution to purchase a police department squad vehicle for the city of Hudson, and this is a 2022 Ford Explorer, police responder for, what was it, the 31,713, and then all the add-ons is the 28,696. And this will come out of next year's budget.
Fiscal year
Fis-
the next year, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, reserves and, okay,
yeah, we won't pay for it until we have it,
No.
so it'll be able to be split.
okay, okay. Do
So
I
moved.
Okay,
Second.
all right. It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Wyatt.
Hold up.
Oh.
Officer Banks,
Yes.
this is the best solution?
Yeah, and, you know, when we talked about it, it was better to get the Explorer versus replace my truck right away, because I don't put too many miles on my truck, about 8 miles a day, which should be, for my position, but yeah.
So we're gonna play the worst case scenario for you. You won't receive the new vehicle until March of next year. You won't receive the second vehicle until March of the following year. Are you okay with that?
Well, I think we should get, according to Blake, we should get the truck, possibly built in December, in our hands by January.
I'm just playing that worst case. Are we
Well, yeah.
okay if it's another 60 days behind that?
We have 4 vehicles, we can juggle them.
Okay,
Like I said, the oldest one, you know, it's put together by duct tape, that our part-timer drives it, so put less miles on it right now, but we'll manage.
okay.
Yeah, if perfect scenario, we get the truck in
Yep.
4 months, and then we get to explore in the next fiscal year, maybe October-ish next year, a year from now. That would be perfect.
Okay, all right,
The other,
thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Kate.
the other thing I'm gonna say is that we need to make sure that we continue to monitor. After these two, we're really pretty on a good path.
Yep.
But we need to look at not ordering a month or two before we need it,
Yeah.
knowing that this could continue for years to come with delays in building.
So I would ask, keep track of expenses on the high mileage one till we
Yeah.
receive the other one. I wanna see if that $4,000 difference that we have in paper,
Okay,
that we don't exceed that 4,000.
deal.
Well, we've also talked about, there's more to it than 4,000 too, you're obviously.
we gotta buy local, but I mean, it's a unique situation that we're in today. In a normal
Kind of.
situation, we would be okay, but,
Kind of, but we've also gone with 2 vehicles for at least 20 years, and now we're up to 4.
right,
So what I put together was going with 3. Let's eliminate that one and not even drive it. So that one dies tomorrow, and we still go with just the 3, and they move it around. We're still only adding an average of 500 miles per month to each one of those 3 cars that are already existing.
I
So
mean,
to get
that's-
by with, we only have 1 person, maybe 2 on duty at a time. 3 vehicles, 12 miles of roads, we can get by for 3 months. You know what I mean?
I just wanna track that expense to
I
know.
completely, I understand,
Yeah,
but
we need to follow that, because who to say we're not gonna be in any better circumstance next year when this comes around?
But I still, I truly, and this was talked about in this meeting, I am very passionate about, and everybody that knows me knows this, about making sure that we are purchasing and at least getting the bids from a local business when we have the opportunity.
And I agree.
Because, let me finish, 100% of their salaries are coming from that local property tax.
And I agree with that.
And if we're waiting 6 months even, to me, that is not worth going outside of that 2 hour to do that with. And I would expect that we are trying to figure out ways to continue buying local, not trying to find ways to not, is my whole thing with this. Because we've done it with other projects too. We've done it with other city projects that have not even gotten bids from a local business that does the same thing. And I'm coming from a time growing up in this town when we had the hardware store, the auto parts store. There's a reason we don't continue to have those. And if we're looking to continue to expand businesses, and I spend hundreds of hours a year trying to work with other businesses in the Cedar Valley and in the state, we need to be using the ones we've got.
We also have to take into consideration, though, that we've got the necessary equipment for the safety of our citizens.
100%.
So
And if it
there's
was down
there's a
to,
fine balance.
but if it was down to 1 car or 2 cars, it's a completely different story. When we've still got 3 cars that we can rotate amongst, I don't see the urgency to have to do something tomorrow. That was where I was never anti-buying a new police car. I'm anti-saying that it needed to be an urgency, that things that happen right now.
Yeah, and my concern too is that we get into that worst case scenario and we're not getting vehicles but now we're tied into 2 contracts. So,
And that's also why we should be doing this on a regulation basis, on a rotating basis, so that those mileages aren't getting to that point to do that. And that's what we've been trying to do for 8 years that I've been here. And that's where we're gonna get to with this.
I'll just reason for Tahoe to get in that rotation instead of waiting, because we're unpredictable what's gonna happen in next year, but I'm cool with what we came up with at the public safety meeting, and fingers crossed, everything will work out.
So my statement is this: I agree, we buy local. We cannot spend more to buy local than buying a competitive bid, because we are a government agency.
We can,
Let me finish, please. Just 1 second, then I'll let you have the floor forever. If that repair service comes in at $10,000, we gotta take that $10,000 and add it to the purchase price of that new car. Now all of a sudden, it's not a competitive bid. We have to watch our competitive bids locally. If we have to go outside, we do. But if it's a competitive bid locally, they're given every right. So, that was my floor, I'm done. Kate, it's your floor.
we do though, we have a 5%.
percent that we can do.
Yep.
Yeah, we do have that 5%.
Yeah, but it might become a fine line, so, okay. Yep, roll call.
Wyatt,
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Buns.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0.
Okay. Item E, discussion action to approve resolution 2839, a resolution accepting the highest bid for the 1999 fire truck, and that was from the Holland Fire Department for $112,501, because we need that extra dollar.
Glad they rounded it up.
Yeah,
So moved.
Second.
all right. Any other discussion? Roll call?
Where,
Oh, I'm sorry, yes,
can
go
I
ahead.
speak on that?
Absolutely.
This money that they bid, when we receive that, where, does that money, that 112, does that go back into our reserves then?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep, that's still fire department money.
Yep.
okay, I just,
Just double
No,
check
that's-
it.
this is my first time going through
Yep.
it, so.
Yeah, any
Always
purchases.
requested that.
Yep, yeah, any purchases that you guys have or you sell something, it always automatically goes back into your reserve account. Unless you want something different, but that's just what we've done.
Okay.
Rio, did you want anything, have anything to?
Just, same thing, just, that's why I'm here, just to make
Okay.
sure that one of us always, somebody from the fire department, whenever we sell something, comes up to remind the council and the mayor, and I'm sure George remembers this over and over again, that the money goes in back into our reserves, so.
Yeah, it's not like something we do
Nope.
Every
just-
month,
just
so
it doesn't get
absolutely.
forgot.
I absolutely agree. Okay, roll call?
Lawson,
Aye.
Wyatt,
Aye.
Buns.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0.
Item F, discussion action to approve resolution
Thanks, guys.
2840. Thanks. For approval of a 3-year maintenance contract and lease agreement for the city of Hudson. And to go with Access Systems, and I see that we don't have an extra charge now for faxing. also.
Correct, and we also will be getting rid of our fax line. It'll
I
all
was
be
just gonna ask,
cloud-based.
will it be doing email faxing like,
Yep,
most
it's,
people
it's,
do now?
it's basically exactly what the school is doing right now. So,
Go
I
ahead.
make the motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, roll call?
Wyatt,
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Buns.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0.
Item G, discussion action to approve resolution 2841, a resolution approving the state of Iowa annual urban renewal report for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021, and Blackhawk County tax increment financing report for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I'm glad you're doing that report and
I hate that report, I'm just gonna tell you that right now, hate it.
So
Hate it,
much
hate
fun
it.
apparently.
okay, roll call.
Lawson.
Aye.
Wyatt.
Aye.
Buns.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0.
Item H, discussion action to approve resolution 2842, a resolution approving the transfer of funds for September 2021, and that's just our monthly transfer.
Correct.
My turn? So
Yeah.
moved.
Second.
Which one?
Roll call?
Wyatt.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Buns.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0.
Item I, discussion action to approve resolution 2843, a resolution for the city council of the city of Hudson approving the submittal of a grant seeking funds for park equipment. And this is to the Blackhawk County Gaming Association, asking them for half the cost of the project at $107,500 is what we'll be asking for.
Yep, that's correct.
So moved.
Second?
Thank you.
Shook it up there.
Any discussion? Wait, roll call?
Lawson.
Aye.
Buns.
Aye.
Wyatt.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0.
Okay, we have 11 informational items in the packet. Reminder items, regularly scheduled meetings held at council chambers except for electric board and library board. Public Works, October 13th at 7 a.m. Mayor's Task Force has been canceled. Personnel Admin Finance Committee meeting, October 25th. Public Safety meeting, October 28th. Next two council meetings will be October 25th and November 8th.
Those are Mondays, right?
Yes.
I tried to come to the
Yes.
meeting last night, so.
Oh, you were the second one, okay.
I was the first one.
Were you? I
Then
drove
all
through
three
and
of you did.
Luckily, I
because
saw
Lori
George
did
on
too.
Friday night and he reminded me.
I'd make the motion to, whatever.
Adjourn.
Adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carried.
Thank you.
We are adjourned.